Boss chicks, boss chicks, boss chicks, boss chicks, boss chicks, boss chicks.
To all the queens who sacrifice their dream, to all the queens who put their lives aside, this is now your time to shine. This is now your time to shine.
Boss chicks, boss chicks.
Rise up, take your place. Rise up, take your place. Rise up, don't look down. Just rise up. Rise up.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Boss Chicks. Hi. Episode number 2. We want to thank you for tuning in with us last week as we launched our first episode, and we celebrated my 40th birthday, 40. Yeah, I'm no longer in the 30s club anymore. So thank you guys for liking our page. Thank you guys for sharing our page. Thank you guys for subscribing to our page and spreading the word. Thank you. We appreciate you guys, all of you.
Thank you.
We also want to take a time out to acknowledge all of our breast cancer survivors that's out there. October, as you know, is the month of survivors for breast cancer. We want to take this time to acknowledge each and every one of them. So if you have a family member or a friend who is a survivor of breast cancer, please drop their name down in the comments as we acknowledge them. I know it's a long journey, it's a hard journey, but they did not only endure, they survived. So we definitely want to acknowledge them this month. But we're gonna not ramble all night long because I can ramble all night long. We're gonna get started with the show. Tonight's topic is balancing life as a mom, wife, and entrepreneur. Hey, Toy's got that cool shirt. Wife, mom, boss.
Yeah.
In that order. So we're gonna get started with our beautiful first host, Andrea. Andrea, owner of My Everything Beautiful. She's a wife and a first-time mom. So, Andrea, we're gonna start with you. Why don't you share your story with us of how you had to adjust your time from starting off being single to then being married to now being a mom?
Oh man. So, I mean, it's been a transition. I came from, when we first got married, I guess, I don't want to say it was hard for me to leave my family. I'm really close with my family. So it was hard to kind of not leave them, but just kind of like transition into like, I have my own family now. Not my own family, but you know what I mean? Like
Gotcha.
now I have to feed and be there for my husband. You know, your immediate family kind of goes comes after him. You know, you leave and cleave.
I like that. Leave and cleave.
Yeah. But you know, it was just it was a transition for me. But being a wife has, you know, it's been like it's opened a lot of what am I trying to say? It's definitely brought up a new version in me. I've learned to keep my own home, you know, like, and it's not just that, like, it's just really, gosh, I'm going everywhere. I'm sorry.
You're good. You know what I was thinking when you said leave and cleave, like, yeah. and how when it brings on a new version. You know how when people get married and they have other married friends, they be like, "Welcome to the club. You're part of the elite club."
Yeah, like things definitely change, you know. I mean, I've never been one to like go out or anything. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows I'm a homebody. everybody knows I like to keep to myself. But you know, I had to kind of get used to being around, like you said, married couples. Not that we weren't hanging around them before, but more so now than before. You know, you kind of have to change your crowd. You can't have that single mindset anymore. And that wasn't hard for me. I think I've always been a wife. I've always tried to carry myself as a wife, at least. I want to say that. I wanted to make sure I want to make sure that I am the woman that I would like my daughter to kind of be one day. Not like me, but, you know, just, yeah.
That's good. That's good.
So I try. But let's see. So from being single to married, but I mean, it's been fun. Like now I have this life partner and we do everything together. You know, like you have that, you know how they say you have your live-in best friend. Never lived with anybody but my family, but it's like, hey, this is kind of cool. You know? So yeah, I love being married. It's great. Yeah. It's everything to me. I love it. I love Jamal. So yeah. So from single to married to mom. I think one of my biggest fears was it wasn't becoming a mom. It was losing myself, losing my marriage, losing, you know, just stepping into a new season. I didn't want us to give up us. You know, I didn't want us to stop dating. I didn't want us to stop like loving each other or anything like that. So it was, I think I thought too much about it, but actually becoming a mom has really brought us a lot closer, or becoming new parents, I should say. Yeah, like we're always so goo goo gaga over her, and she's, you know, she's such a good baby. Like we'll sit there, she's sleeping, and we're in the bed, we're supposed to be sleeping, but we're looking at pictures of our daughter, and she's sleeping right there. So, you know, but you know, it's just, I don't know if you guys did that as new parents too, but yeah.
You're in amazement of your kids.
You're
always in amazement of them.
Yeah.
And you're looking at it like it's both of us. Like we created this.
Exactly. We'll sit there and be like, man, I can't believe we made her. Like she's so beautiful. But yeah, I hope I answered that right. Maybe it's because I'm going first. I just feel like it's hot. I'm hot.
Oh God.
But yeah, I mean, I think with every season, there's an adjustment that has to be done every season. And I try to do it gracefully. I try to do it without putting too much pressure on myself. And I think that's my biggest mistake. I put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure I'm meeting this standard that I want to set, when really, if I take a step back, I can see that I'm actually doing more than okay. So from being single, married to mom, I feel like I'm doing more than okay.
I think so.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what advice would you give to a new mom, you know, who might be facing the same challenges or fears?
I think take a step back a little bit and see that it can, I don't want to say that it can all be done, but you can still have your time with your parents and your siblings, and your first family. Just make sure you're not neglecting your new family, your spouse, or or include them in things that would, I guess, bring everybody together. I'm not sure. I guess I'm still trying to figure that out too. But I think I've found a good way to balance being, having my family. It's hard. Sometimes I miss it, but I try not to drop the ball as much as possible. But I guess don't put too much pressure on yourself to make it a smooth transition, because sometimes it won't be, or sometimes it already is, and you're just if you're anything like me, you just make it difficult. So,
That is that is really good, especially when you're coming from such a tight-knit family and a big family where you are close. You know, you want to make sure that you are establishing those boundaries, and you're spending that, you're not putting them ahead of your spouse, and you're not putting your spouse in an awkward position.
Right.
So that is really, really good. Like, and it's good when you have family that understands that, you know,
yeah.
that is the key. And I
Mhm.
think you have a great family that understands that. You know, you have parents who have been married for forever, and then your sister is married, and your sister is in a long-term relationship, and your brother is in a long-term relationship. So they understand that and they respect that. So that is key, because
Yeah.
if they don't respect it, then I can see how, you know, it's easy for parents and family members to get like that, like to get into those uncomfortable positions. So
Yeah.
thank you, Drea.
Thank you. I think you articulated it better than I did.
I think you did very well.
Very good.
I should stop going first.
All right. I guess now we can move on over to Latoya. Latoya is the owner of Divine Fitness Training and Gym. Train with Toya is her personal training. I am actually one of her products of her personal training, and I want to say, you know, I'm doing my thing, you know. So watch throughout. If you keep watching the episodes, you'll keep seeing the transformation. So you missed me before, but you know, you keep watching, you'll keep seeing the transformation. So Toya is a mom of 4. She is also a wife of 12 years?
15.
15?
Ah,
Dang, it seemed like just yesterday.
Going on 16 in January.
Wow.
yes.
That's right. Malachi is about to be 17. That's right. Wow. All right, Toya. Well, we're going to jump right in there with you. Last week, you talked about your fitness journey and how you came to a place of wanting to get your body back after you had twins. Can you expound some more on that?
For me, it was about trying to manage my time. And when I say manage my time, it's not about finding time, because if you're trying to find time to make, you know, for yourself, it's not going to happen. You have to make that time. I had to put myself on my own schedule,
That's
at the
good.
top of my schedule. So with 4 kids, I know that firsthand it's not easy, but it was important to me. So I had to make that time. I started off by dropping my oldest kids off to school and coming back home, and I was working out to DVDs in the living room while the twins were in the playpen. I just did whatever I had to do to make that time to get those workouts in. I tried plenty of different things that until I found something that works for me, and I think that's key. A lot of people trying to, you know, do the newest fad or the newest diet or the newest workout, but you have to take the time to find what's going to work for you and what's going to work for your schedule. And that's the only way you'll be able to actually stick to it and be consistent and dedicated with those workouts. So I made the sacrifice at one point of waking up at 3:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning to go to the gym and work out. That's how important it was to me. And
That is some serious dedication.
Right? I had to get up that early because I had to be back in the house before my husband went to work. So 3:30 it was. I was dragging myself out the bed, dragging myself to the gym, but I got it done, and it came, and you know, I was happy about it. So it is something that you can do. It can be a struggle, but like I said, just finding that time, making the time is like making an appointment with yourself, for yourself. So as I touched on last week, having that structure, I had to have that structure in my household. In order for me to get up at 3:30 in the morning, I had to be in bed by 8 o'clock. So that structure was definitely important. It was a sacrifice that we had to make, but I wouldn't be able to function if I was going to bed at 11. I wouldn't be able to get up at 3. So it was something that I had
Guilty.
to do. Yep. And I just wanted to, also just encourage someone to make sure that they're making that time for themselves. I know I talk about it all the time on my Facebook page and how necessary it is to make that time, to find that time for yourself. I can't stress it enough. It's necessary. It's very necessary. I feel that it makes me a better person, making sure that I get that time for myself, whether it's reading a book or going to do my nails and my toes or getting my hair done, whatever it is, just making sure that I set that time aside for myself. It's an hour, 30 minutes, whatever. If I just sit there and do nothing for 30 minutes, that's my time. That's what I choose to do. It's so important for us to do that. So I just want to encourage somebody to make some time for themselves.
That is really good. We always hear that self-care is the best care. It really is. I remember somebody at my church, I want to say it was our apostle, or I don't remember exactly, but they was like, your body is like a bank account, like an ATM machine.
Mm-hmm.
And if you never deposit into your own self and you're constantly emptying out, then you're on overdrive and you are in a red and you're depleted until your bank account closed down. And I was like, wow.
You have nothing else to give a person, to give anyone, if you're running around on empty all day long.
Right. And we don't realize how much we give out as women. Like, we really don't. We will wear like a billion hats and we don't really ever take a minute to pause. So that was really good. Like, self-appointment. I wrote that down on my sticky notes. Self-appointment, ladies. Make your appointments with yourself.
Put yourself on the top of your priority list.
That's good.
I also wanted to add, so I just started to see a life coach. I had 2-ish, 3-ish sessions with her, and we touched on that a lot, because that's where, like you said, Sena, it's where women kind of tend to put on the back burner. We don't tend to take care of ourselves as much as we take care of others, especially if you have kids. And I kid you not, the moment that I decided that I was going to commit to taking care of myself, I felt like everything worked against me.
Like, of course,
there was suddenly there was suddenly absolutely no time. Like, I was trying to between taking care of Addison, wanting to keep up my home. I think that's important to me. And then I'm also taking an online class. So it's like, gosh, there was one day where I couldn't get any of my work done. I turned it in late. I still don't know if I'm gonna get credit for it, but it was like, oh my goodness, like, and it just dawned on me on Friday, right when I was getting ready to go for my next session, that the enemy was messing with me, and I'm like, not today, Satan. Like, I'm trying to work on myself. I'm trying to get better at, like, taking care of me so that I can take care of, my family, and so I don't feel like I'm drained and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I like, everything just went haywire. It felt worse. I had a couple meltdowns, but I was okay. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's important to remember that it'll probably feel like that at first. Like, once you make that commitment, you might feel like, everything's working against you. But as long as you keep pushing and keep making that your priority, as long as you keep making yourself a priority, I think you'll push past that. You'll push past that threshold, and everything will be cool.
That's a good point that you bring up too, because that is so true. Like, soon as you purpose in your heart and your mind to do anything, you run into obstacles. But another thing that I heard at church from one of my leaders, Apostle Turner, he used to tell us all the time, the thief don't hang around an empty ball. So that quote meant pretty much, you have something in you, and the more we take care of ourselves, the more that's what's in us, which is our purpose or our potential, begin to come about, and we begin to make things happen. And of course, if we got purpose and potential coming out of us, what's gonna also breathe there? That thief, or like you said, get thee behind me, Satan, that devil, to come and just try to stir up all type of mess. And most people, if they're not rooted or grounded, or don't have a good support team or a life coach, like you said, or a mentor or friends or family that they can talk to, they will easily quit. Like, because obstacles come and they just feel like, you know what, I can't handle that. Like, it's too hard, and no one's pushing them to like keep on or anything. So it is very easy to give up versus like pushing past the feeling or pushing past the threshold. So that was a good quote that you said, Drea and Toya. Yes, self-appointment, that was really good. Like, we really do need to take better care of ourselves. Especially trying to manage all that we manage. Like, if you sit down and you write a list of just all that you do, like you say wife, you say mom, you say entrepreneur, but those are like categories. Go to the subcategory of it. Like, you're a mom, you're a driver, you got to drive your kids places, doctor's appointments, games, you got to go grocery shop. You're a wife, so you got to go grocery shopping, you got to drive there, you got to cook dinner, you got to clean up the house.
Yes, the never-ending laundry.
Oh,
never-ending laundry.
Let's not talk about the laundry. So if you break down each one of those items or titles, being an entrepreneur, you know, the planning, people think entrepreneurs just show up. No, we are sitting down planning when everybody else, like, we don't work a 9 to 5. We work from the time we get up to the time we go to bed, because you're writing things down, you're thinking, you're processing. So you're your own secretary. I mean, like, all the stuff, you break it down. You know, you're an encourager for your spouse, you know, you're a counselor for them, you know, you're a therapist, you know, so you're so much of things. So if we're all of this stuff to everyone else, who's that to us?
Right.
So it's important that self-care be like on the, like Toya said, self-appointment be on the top of our list, because our spouses are there. Yes, we have our girlfriends there, our family members there, but what about yourself? Like, you need to be there for you. You have to show up for you too. So yeah, in therapy, if you need therapy, like, there is nothing wrong with seeing a therapist. Contrary to popular belief, everybody should see a therapist, in my opinion. Like, mental health is real. And as a mom, you definitely should. I highly recommend. I heard on a podcast today that this is actually Mental Health Week. So get your mind right. Like, getting your mind right will get your body right, and will get your spirits right. Like, it will get
everything else falls into place.
Yeah, because once you get this right, and it's okay to have meltdowns like every now and then. But if you find yourself in a meltdown and you don't know why, and you can't get out of that meltdown, it's time to actually start seeking something higher than you know, seeking something deeper than what you feel like you're going through. But yeah, I'm not gonna go into all of that because I'm just not. But it was really good. I guess I'll start talking about the wife aspect of it, in relationships, building and maintaining relationships while you're a mom, a wife, and a boss. It's really important that you maintain relationships. Let's see where I can go on and on and on and on about this. I've had people, like, in the past who would ask me, like, Sena, I see your kids are in so much of things, you're doing so much, you know, you're with your husband, like, where do you have time for fun? Back to what Latoya said, I make appointments for it. Years ago, everybody knows Latoya is my sister. In case you guys don't know, she is my sister and also my best friend. So my fun comes not just from my spouse and my kids, but it also comes from hanging out with my sisters. I have 4 sisters, and whenever we can, I would make appointments. Hey, Toya, come on, we need a sisters day out. Like, hey, let's go out. So we did things. Now we do brunch. We try to maintain some sort of fun, and we can't do it all the time. But we do make appointments for it, whether it's every 3 months, once a month. We used to have a thing once a month where we were doing something once a month, but then our schedules changed and we learned to adjust. So when you are wearing so many hats, like Latoya stated before and Andrea stated, you know, making those appointments and making that time, you have to push past certain things and say, I'm gonna do it. My husband, he's a big advocate of, you know, babe, get you some time, because he do recognize I pour out a lot. So that was one of the things, is like making sure you do maintain that. You can't just be about your kids, your husband, your work, because then you're going to feel depleted, and then you're going to start lashing out on them, because you're going to feel like, well, I can't do anything because of you, or I can't do anything because of this, and the whole house is miserable now. Like, everyone's miserable when all you have to do is take a moment and say, hey, you know, don't neglect your house. Now, hear me when I say that. Make sure your kids ate. We always did things like after hours. And it wasn't where we was in no clubs working and doing all of that. No, we wasn't doing that. So when I say after hours, we found restaurants that had like live entertainment, like neo soul type of places, jazz music, like just casual things. And we made sure we took her home first, and then we went out. And it wasn't for like 5 and 10 hours, like 2 hours, sometimes an hour, just to get that where you can be you. Like, I can be Sena. I don't have to hear nobody saying, mom, or honey, baby. I was like, okay, I do have a name. So that was important to me. That is like very important to me. Another thing was, it was a challenge in the beginning trying to keep up with everyone. For me, I was that to everybody. So I had to learn the art of no. I have a very giving heart. And in that giving, I was being pulled in so many directions. And when you're being pulled in so many directions, you don't recognize until you get on burnout. And when you get on burnout, you pretty much go to a place where, you know, you're not angry with anyone but yourself, like where we talk about the mental health and all of that stuff. So you're sitting there, you're like, why did I allow burnout? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? And you have to recognize, why are you doing it? Like, that's number one. It's like, stop becoming everything to everyone, and put things in perspective, put things in place. Like Andrea said, she had to, you know, balance it out from her family being number one to her new family being number one, and then her other family. So it was really important that I learned the art of no, and not to take on more than I can handle. So now, like, it took, and this wasn't something I mastered overnight. Oh my gosh, it took years. It took years, because there were times when, like, my parents would call, my siblings would call, and I would just be like, it's my siblings, they need me, or it's my parents, they need me. And then I was like, wait a minute, hold up. Everybody don't have a need. How high is your need? Is it like a life or death need? Or so I've learned, like, literally how to be like, okay, you know what? Okay, it can wait. Like, it's not that serious. Or you can't do this yourself. Like, that was a big one. Like, you know, a lot of times everybody want the answers when they can honestly look it up for themselves, or they can do it for themselves, but they depend on you. So it was pretty much a 2-time thing, trying to get myself to learn no, while trying to get others to depend on other things besides me. And sometimes that is hard. Like, I've learned that that's hard with old people. Like, some old people just be like,
can you do it for me?
Yeah. I thank God that, like, even with my parents, they've learned to start doing research things for themselves. And I'd be like, who taught them that? Now I'm calling to it, and my other sister, Tanisha, like, which one of y'all taught them this? Which one of y'all, and even like my church members, like them as well, like I had to learn how to balance it all out, and like, no, you can research it, you can find it. I found it. I remember here, and this is what made me start doing that. Someone made a comment to me of how they was like, oh, you're like the 211. Anybody from San Diego knows that 211 is an information line. They have all the information. And I was like, I don't want to be known for being the 211 person. Like, find it yourself. And that's when I think I kind of like was like, oh no, like we got to make some changes here. So no. The advice that I would give women concerning building healthy and maintaining healthy relationships is really this: put everything in balance, put everything in its perspective, and be intentional about it. Like, don't just put it in a place, but be intentional about it. Like Toya said, make time for self-appointments, make time for your self-care, make time for your children, make time for your friends, and make time for your family, make time for your spouse. For me, everybody, anybody who knows me knows that Thursdays is my night with my man. Don't call me, don't text me, don't bug me, because I'm with my husband. Like, that is, and we are intentional about it. I don't care where we are, even in the midst of the pandemic. Like, we couldn't leave the house, nothing was open. We would just send our kids downstairs and be like, don't bother us. Like, it's Thursday night, it's date night. We would set up upstairs. We did different things upstairs, like paint nights, movie nights, but we were intentional about it, and like we remain intentional about it throughout the years. And we've been married, this November will be 19 years, but we've taken the last 4 years and made Thursday our night. So the only time we adjust is if, like, say for instance the kids have a game or something like that, and then we'll adjust our schedules. But we're intentional about making sure that we celebrate us once a week. That you hear a lot of times with marriages, how people, once their kids move out the house, they have nothing. That's why we're intentional, is because I don't want to ever be like, you know what, well, we have nothing in common anymore, you know, we're just sitting here. No, we got a lot in common. We get together. Thursday nights is about like our goals, our love, celebrating each other. So we're very intentional about that. The next thing is I'm intentional about hanging out with my siblings. Like, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I have 2 siblings that live in here in California, and then, well, I have 3 siblings that live in California, and then I have 3 siblings that live on the East Coast. Even if I can't hang out with the East Coast ones, we FaceTime each other, we're talking on the phone. So I'm intentional about that. We all have busy schedules. Some of us are married, some of us have children, some of us have businesses. So we try to plan months ahead of time or weeks ahead of time and be like, hey, you know, what are you guys doing this day? Let's make time, let's do this. And we've just been intentional. Even if, like, with my sisters here, one of the things that we do is we celebrate each other's birthdays. That's like a no, there's no, what do you call it? You can't get out of that. Like, you can't get out of that. There is no excuse. And we do it because we know we're married and we have our own families. We don't do it on the person's birthday. We try to do it beforehand or after, but we respect their household. You know, the last thing I want anybody to do is be like, oh, you came in between my, no, sorry, Bob, because I don't want you to come in between mine. So we respect those boundaries. And then another thing we do as a family, and we kind of haven't done it as much because of COVID, but Sundays was our days with our parents. Like, we went over there every Sunday. My mom wake up at like 4:00 in the morning. She cooks us dinner. So that was our intentional family time, where we're able to get that time with our family, where all the kids come together. My parents get to see us all. You know, we're all hanging out under one roof. With my husband's family being from out of town, we try to make sure that once a year, and our time would be going back in like for the 4th of July, that we go back to visit. My biological mom lives out there, and his parents' mom lives out there. So we would make an intentional trip every year, same time every year, to go and spend time and continue those relationships. So being intentional, even if you're not married, but you have friends, be intentional about, spending time with them once a month, once every quarter, something like that. It's good. That's another good thing for self-care. Like, it helps. It really helps just to come outside. And I like to get dressed up. So, I work from in a house. So being able to get dressed up and be like, oh, I did my hair, got my makeup on, So you really have to be intentional about maintaining healthy relationships for your sanity. So, but yeah, so anybody else got anything about maintaining healthy relationships?
I think having that balance in your life is very important. From your friendships, from marriage, with that balance with your kids. It's also important for your kids to see that relationship between your husband and yourself. Growing up, I seen that with my mom and dad as well. It was important, and I'm a better person because of that example that they've placed in front of us. I can be a better wife. I can be a good mother because of the example that I had. So showing your kids, I commend Sena and Reggie on their date nights. I think it's absolutely awesome. Me living out here in the IE, it's been kind of difficult to get that time because I don't trust anyone with my kids. So I have to wait till they're a little older before we can really get that time. But we still find that time for one another. But yeah, I just think that it's a beautiful thing having your kids see that you guys are still in love, still wanting to be around each other. It's important. And finding that balance, it can be done. It is going to take time. Like I said, trying to find what works for you and your schedule and your household. It can be done, but yeah, it takes time.
Yep. Life takes time.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
I know. I mean, I think too, like, we just have to remember that we have to remember to extend ourselves that grace when we don't get it right.
Oh, that's good.
I think that's important. We can't, and I think I'm still working on that too, just like not being so hard. Latoya, you told me not to be so hard on myself recently, and that, it's such a simple thing, but it's hard to like remember in those moments, like, man, I can't believe I'm beating myself up for something that, that I can try again on, that I can keep trying again with. And yeah.
It's easy to beat yourself up. I used to do it if I didn't have my house clean. My house has to be cleaned. And so when I get to, complete all the laundry or a dish wasn't washed, it became overwhelming. I had to give myself a break. That's why I can tell you, don't beat yourself up. There's always tomorrow. It will get done.
Oh, yeah. Because laundry is like a 3-day process. You need a day to wash, a day to fold, and a day to put away. Well, thank you guys for all your input this week. This was some really good stuff to digest. I took some notes. Like, I'm advising people, when you guys watch this podcast, get you some pen and paper, because boy, this helps me. We want to just we had some comments, and I'm just going to read one of the comments from our Instagram page from Christina Goutan. She said, yes, finding balance between it all is the key. Sometimes I find it challenging to stop working in the business after the children have gone off to sleep. I know that it is important for me to log off because I need my rest. I don't get sleep, then I'm no good during my most productive hours, which is early in the morning, in my Uncle Charlie voice. Can't wait to hear more from you guys. Toya talked about the time and going to bed on early. I am guilty, so I can't even give you no advice about going to bed early, because I don't go to bed early, because that's the only time I'm able to, what did we say last week? Wind down. So Toya, you want to talk about the You want to share a comment with
Oh,
her?
yeah. So what I found for myself is I put do not disturb on my phone. I have business hours. If you can't contact me during my business hours, I will return your phone call, your text, your email the next business day. It's really important to make sure that you set that tone for your business. Make sure that you have a off time. Yes, you're usually still working, doing something else for the following day. But as far as taking clients or taking calls and emails, you have to have a cutoff so that you can unwind, end your day, find that schedule and that balance for your evening time, and get your rest. Your body needs rest. They say no days off. No, that's not true. You need a day off. Your body needs to rest and reset.
That's good.
So find that time. That balance is needed. Find that time, set your hours, and stick to it.
Rest and reset. I like that.
Yep.
Well, that is our night. We are going to be calling it the end for episode number 2. But before we leave, I want to let you know where you can find us on Instagram. My name is Sena Williams. You can find me at Children of the King Daycare, or you can find me at Sena_Williams_realtor. Next.
You can find me on Instagram, Everything Beautiful, or the name is Everything Beautiful, but my Instagram name is at myeverythingbeautiful.ag. So contact me if you need flowers or anything.
And you can find me on Facebook at Divine Total Body Fitness, or Instagram train_with_Toya. I can get you right.
Get tight with Toya. All right. We thank you guys for tuning in to episode number 2. Again, stay tuned next week where we broadcast episode number 3. That's episode 1, 2, 3, where we'll be having special guests and we'll be talking about parenting the distance learning child while trying to run a business. As you guys know, we're in COVID season. Actually, I'm not even going to call it COVID season. I don't want this to be a season. I want this to be over with. Like, we're dealing with something called coronavirus. And it's been challenging for a lot of parents and for their kids that are distance learning. So we want to hear from the parents that are actually distance learning, going through distance learning, and trying to maintain their business, whether they're working in a home or they're working outside of the home. So make sure you tune in next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow us at Boss Chix SD on Instagram and on YouTube, and Boss Chix on Facebook. Good night. Boss Chix out.
Good night.
All right.
Boss Chix, Boss Chix, Boss Chix, Boss Chix, Boss Chix, Boss Chix.
To all the queens who sacrifice their dream, to all the queens who put their lives aside, this is now your time to shine. This is now your time to shine.
Boss Chix, Boss Chix.
I